Tell me, Joe, why did Elon Musk replace Scaled Agile with Mob AI?
Brilliant intro question, Ailed. I'm Joe Justice, the founder of Agile at Tesla, and I worked with Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos before. Now I work with Toyota, Mercedes, Bros, BMW, Airbus, all around the world. And I'd like to talk to you about MobAI.
That sounds great. We have to make understood what's Mob AI. What's the idea behind it?
The idea is human group work assisted by AI. At least now, we'll see where the future goes, but at least now, human group work is incredibly valuable, especially for ethical judgments, quality judgments, and the type of creativity humans do is not yet fully replaced by AI. And AI has some wonderful powers for fast compute, fast number crunching, and the way I'll try to explain it in Mob AI, fast data presentation. So the humans can make really informed decisions on questions they just thought of instead of requesting a report and a certain amount of time later getting it. It can be almost instantaneous. So the idea is AI assisted human group work to make the absolute best and highest quality progress towards, well, I hope any kind of problem. I've seen it in aerospace, car engineering, manufacturing, art. Every field I've tried it in, so far it's been the best in field.
So, if I got it correctly, it's kind of a framework that helps people work better using the power of Gen AI, correct? I did get.
Yep. Collaborative group work, as opposed to people working alone, plugs into agile pairing and group practices for a while. So you could think of it like an agile framework or something that sits in that same space. And it's AI native, which helps because AI is so powerful right now.
So, let's jump into it. Like, do you have specific roles, meeting ceremonies, artifacts? What's so distinctive about Mob AI?
What I'm finding is when the release speed gets really fast, multiple times a day, most artifacts or meetings are not as valuable as they used to be, and can maybe be skipped. Like you don't need an alignment meeting if you're releasing every 15 minutes or 45 minutes or even 3 hours. And if all the key players are in that group work. So if you don't have dependencies, you don't need dependency meetings. I know that sounds like a fairy tale. How can you not have dependencies? But it is possible, or at least have very few. And that's great modular architecture, which the AIs are good at helping the humans come up with as that collaboration. So there's not much in the way of artifacts other than this big board that shows all the Mob AI teams running. And there's some KPIs that are important for any business. So they're on that big board. Now, that big board is named after me. It's the Justice Board.
Okay.
Uh, and there's a row for each team, and it shows what the team's trying to deliver right now. And they self update that, or they ask their AI to guess and auto update that. Then it shows how much money they're using per length of time. If their salaries are known, those are added up and divided by the length of time. So per hour, what does it cost for these 3, 4, 5 humans to be doing whatever they're doing? And if it's physical work like designing and building cars with prototypes, what's the run rate of materials use? And if it's physical work taking place in a building, there's some number that's like a number applied to for cubic meters of warehouse, factory, production space. And it says they're using about this many cubic meters. That's also auto-populated from the AI looking at video feeds. So almost all the Justice Board is auto-populated and auto-maintained once it's connected. And the AIs are asked to continually check it and revisit it. That's your main artifact. We can get more into that. Oh, then the other thing is it's a way of working, kind of like running an open space or a hackathon. And you could think of that like a framework. A hackathon is a framework or a system for attacking a problem and exploring a lot of different potential solutions and maybe developing one or a few solutions into a walking skeleton and maybe even a saleable product. Maybe you could think of it kind of like that.
Okay. So in the very center, you have this justice board with all the key KPIs, which constantly keep updating directly with the help of AI and the IT systems, and they show like the what we've reached so far with the product we are developing. Like, how good is the product? Like, what will be the fuel consumption or the cost or something like that. And then we have all the people working on it, and you were talking about an open space hackathon atmosphere. So people keep changing teams, keep changing the place they're working on. So there's constant movement there. How can I imagine?
Yes, absolutely. Now they don't have to move. They're not forced to move, but moving is absolutely allowed, like many ways hackathons are run and definitely like how open spaces are run.
Mhm.
If any of the people listening have ever been in open space, it's pretty similar. And the session topic, the reason you go to that area, that would be the Justice Board item. The
Mhm.
Justice Board item would be determining why those people are there. Maybe they're trying to take a heat pump and say, is there anything we think we could change that might make its KPIs better? Its
Mhm.
cost, its time to produce, its weight, its durability better, its noise, vibration, harshness lower, whatever the KPIs that matter to that piece. So that'd be the Justice Board row. Then the Justice Board is this auto-updated system. You could think of the open space saying, well, on average over the last hour, 19 people were in that area, that row. And the average salary is X. So it looks like we used about this much money, approximately, roughly over the last hour on this topic, on improving the heat pump. Then the next useful question, automatically reasoned by the AI, is, well, did it get any better?
Mhm.
So the time to release is your meaningful metric for then figuring out what to do with
Mhm.
that money use metric. If you can release a better heat pump every 3 hours, then you want to be measuring, well, how much does it cost us every 3 hours to have those people doing that? And how much better did the heat pump get?
To make sure I understand it, this is like a big room, and there are people changing teams, and the teams would be working on different objects. Like one team would be working on the heat pump, the next one would be working on the, I don't know, generator or brake systems or what have you. And as a person who works there, I kind of like keep moving from like one station to another. Now I'm giving my ideas on the heat pump, and perhaps I can also use that for the generator. And so I keep changing teams there. And the teams themselves, do they have like a role model, specific roles like we used to have the Scrum Master and the product owner? Is there someone who's like in charge of the product?
Perfect content. I love the picture you painted. I do want to be clear, people don't have to change.
Mhm.
They could stay on one area if they wanted their whole career,
Okay.
if that was motivating and satisfying to them. They don't have to move around. But yes, moving around is absolutely allowed. So for those familiar with the rules of open space, with the
Mhm.
butterfly and the
Yes.
bumblebee,
Mhm.
you can be a bumblebee bringing pollination from one group to another, just as you
Okay.
painted, Ayel. But I want to be clear for people who have the type of engineering mind where they want to go deep in something and develop it over time, potentially for decades. Yes, that's absolutely allowed. There's nothing to
Mhm.
say you shouldn't. Then to your next point, are there roles inside those work sessions? In the beginning, yes. After a few hundred hours where we're fluent in the work style, collaborating with the AI and each other to solve the problem, to make progress on the problem, then those roles dissolve away. They're not
Mhm.
helpful anymore. But when I'm teaching this in companies that are used to some framework or a hierarchical system, usually it's a very different structure where people are assigned to projects with budget items for a year or longer.
Mhm.
It helps me very much explain it and get people comfortable with some of the work ways of working to have formal roles. So yes, there are three, but I expect those to be transcended, for those to be dissolved, for those to blur away after about 100 hours of experience using the MobAI method.
So they'll help the team getting started, and after some time, they'll lose their importance. We don't need them anymore. That's kind of like the idea behind it. Um,
Exactly. You're understanding me, IL. We're definitely connecting.
right. And those 3 year olds, which are they?
Okay, we have a driver and they're the one doing the work. So in the beginning, to make it simpler to understand, there's just one driver.
Okay.
And that is as constraining as it sounds. That means you have two, three, four humans watching one person work. But for the first about 100 hours, this is the right method. Uh, I'll say that as confidently as I can from my experience.
So
So
let me get
that
this
person is
clear. The
doing the
driver is
thing.
not the driver is not sitting there and telling everybody in the team what to do. He's not telling you or the front wheel go faster or something, but it's just the other way around. He is really the drive. He's the motor. He's the engine, or she.
Exactly, exactly. They are the one typing. If we're sending an email to a supplier and we want 3, 4, 5 humans minds focused on how to solve this supplier issue in the most respectful and efficient way. So they're the only one typing. Or if we're drawing a new valve in 3D CAD, they're the only one drawing the valve. If we're machining that valve to see if our CAD is actually manufacturable, they're the one actually machining it. And if we're installing the valve to see if it actually connects, now that we've made one, they're the one installing it. So they're the only one doing the current task, whether it's verbal, email, 3D modeling, machining, installing, whatever the work, they're the one doing it.
Okay. There's two more roles you said.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the driver very often is so focused in the tool, the 3D modeling, the coding environment, the IDE, the integrated development environment, that they are engrossed in the detail of the tool, of the driving, of doing the thing, collaborating with the machine. It helps very much to have a navigator. And we used to have more than one navigator. And now, as AI continues to have different and I hope better capabilities, we may have more than one navigator again. But as of today, it still is most useful. I was doing a workshop earlier today. It's still the most useful to have just one navigator. The navigator tells the driver what to do. They are the one telling the driver what to do. And I was really put off by this idea until I experienced it.
Mhm.
Woody Zuhl wrote a book called Software Teaming, a mob development method, a mob programming approach.
Mhm.
Software teaming, a mob programming
We'll
approach.
put into the
And
show notes. Yeah.
I use MobAI for everything, physical work, critical emails. Woody talks about it specifically for software development. And I've had the chance to do some work directly with Woody, and I'm really impressed by him as a human being. Just, I think, a phenomenal person. I hope everyone has a chance to collaborate with Woody sooner or later. Um, in his book, and then again in person, Woody reinforced something to me that really rubbed me the wrong way until I experienced it. And that is, it's very important for someone to say it and for that idea to travel through the air to someone else before it gets done. And I did not like hearing that. Why do you need to say it with all the losses
Mhm.
in concept of trying to say it, especially when you know what to do and you want to just get it done? And then when I experienced it, I realized how often what is said can be improved by the 3, 4 humans and the AI before it's implemented,
Mhm.
how many times defects are caught, and all the learning that happens. Very often, I'm working with teams where there's one really senior person that has a deep understanding of a specific area, a tool, a task, a material, a supply relationship. Doing this format and making sure whoever's driving has to voice it means that deep knowledgeable person gets to react and add detail or refine it or correct
Mhm.
it. Or if that person's voicing it, everyone learns and sometimes finds flaws in the most
Mhm.
senior person's thinking. And it gets better. Yes, initially it's slower. The quality goes up so much that if we take time to fix defects, it's still faster even in the beginning. Then if your priority is just getting a quick, dirty fix first, this method would never be your choice.
Mhm.
If your priority is developing capability, so 100 hours from now, you're twice as fast or faster than you were now. So that's what, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks later? This is the only method I would consider. So if you're going to be together for more than, if your company is going to exist for more than 100 hours, you don't want anyone doing anything alone, is my current theory.
Okay.
And interestingly, that's what I experienced working in Tesla too.
Great. So you have the power of the team with different perspectives and saying out loud stuff to better understand it, find the defects very soon before they're in the system. I understand that. So we have the driver, we have the navigator, and the third part is just the team listening and adding ideas to it. What's the third part?
Oh, a little different, a little different. The mob AI. So there's one driver, one navigator, and one or two or maybe three mob AIs.
Mhm.
And their job is to tag data watching the driver and the navigator anytime something good happens. Many people misunderstand this and they think the mob AI's job is to ask AI for suggestions. Yes, they can do that too, but that's not very high value. Just turning on voice mode for the AI, it can listen to the driver navigator and you don't need a human in between. What as of today is still a very valuable interaction with the current state of AI is for humans to be watching the driver and the navigator. And when something good happens, the driver completes something. A defect is found, a defect is resolved. They tag metadata in the format that the AI they're working with likes.
Okay.
So as of today, often you'd type back to ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini or one of the meta engines like Gemma 3 and say, our driver did this and it was good. Our context is we were trying to make a longer lasting, quieter heat pump. Please remember this.
So the mob AI role, people in that role, they focus on learning by finding the metadata that will help us to do it even better the next time.
Creating the metadata that will make the AI give us, well, essentially that will make the AI automate this task as soon as responsible.
Great, great. Is there some heartbeat to those teams? Do they have something like sprints?
A little bit, a little bit. I didn't experience sprints when I visited SpaceX, and I don't see any sprints when I talk to coworkers that go to Neuralink. And I didn't do any sprints when I was in Tesla. But I find a timer is very useful for the first, again, about 100 hours. The duration of that timer, I ask the team, what do we guess is the shortest amount of time that we could do something useful, feel
Mhm.
success? And then I ask, well, can we make it a little longer in case we struggle? And the teams often choose around 7 minutes. Sometimes it's as short
Mhm.
as 3 minutes. I don't want more than 15 minutes or the energy gets lost.
Mhm.
The team loses focus, I think. That's my experience. So you have this timer, and the driver tries to do something good with everyone's help before that timer runs out.
Mhm. Great.
And what we want is for them to feel success, feel proud of themselves, their confidence goes up. And like the sports analogy, where a sports team on a winning streak, they have so much confidence, they're more likely to keep winning. And I think that's true outside of sports, or at least in MobAI. So hopefully the driver does something good and the team congratulates them before we
Mhm.
rotate, before the timer goes off and the next step starts.
So we are trying to define the iterations in a way that we can score every every iteration, and those iterations shouldn't be any longer, or should be ideally like at 7 minutes, something like that, maximum of 15 minutes. That sounds very productive. That sounds very intense. So one of the things I was wondering when I listened to your other talks about mob AI is how intense is it? Can people do it like every day, or do they just do it like 1 day a week and then they are off to, to I don't know, general work where they work in the way they usually do it? How intense is it, and how do people work in a sustainable path?
Genius point, genius point. This is something I care about a lot. The way I prefer for it to happen is I hope the pace is comfortable for all day use. I hope the pace is comfortable for people nearing retirement for all day use. And I like to use Mob AI in education too for my side projects. So I hope it's comfortable for kids of all ages, even little kids, to play, learn by play, mission-based play, all day. What I'd recommend is starting with 1 hour And that 1 hour, the last 15 minutes is a forced break. I mean, the timer goes off, and I know we're into it by then. I mean, we're usually pumped, right? But stand up, stretch, drink some water, uh, have a coffee, whatever it is you like. I like to do push-ups, but that's
Okay.
me. Depends on what your thing is.
Mhm.
Um, every 15 minutes. And then potentially, if you feel like it's the right thing, have another round. But I will say I've seen teams who choose to use it at extremely high intensity. And then that depends on their level of fitness and focus and discipline if they can do it more than 1 hour. But I've seen people do it with incredibly high intensity for 12 hours a day for years. And that was working in Musk companies. But those are people who chose to. I mean, they could get a job anywhere else for more money, really anywhere else for more money. I don't know if people know this. The average salary in Tesla is, I think, now $54,000 US a year. And these are people that can make multiple millions a year if they switch to OpenAI or Google, and they choose to be there, and they choose to throw themselves at it like a pro athlete training for the World Cup or playing the World Cup. So I've seen it done with incredible intensity. And here again, for the level of intensity, I think the sports analogy works. There's people who play football or soccer or tennis casually in old age or young age for enjoyment. And there's people who play to try to be the top in the world or generate something new that that sport has never experienced. And both are fine, and both are called tennis or soccer or football.
Okay.
And I think in the world of work, there's room for that whole range.
Okay. So I understand you can do it on different levels of intensity, and practicing helps so that you get into it. Forced break. That's that's an expression you just used, and forced breaks also like the idea of this podcast here. We want to keep it short and to the point. So we are already at the end, even if there are a million questions still there. But I have to ask one final question. I always ask for the positive ending, the uplifting ending. One thing that was even better than what you expected it to be.
Today, trying to pronounce your name. IELTS. You're the first IELTS I've met. It is absolutely enjoyable for me to try to get better and better at authentically pronouncing your name. In general, in my life, I'd say it's when I've been able to do MobAI with multi-generational people, someone near retirement, someone just hired. Sometimes I can even do it with kids, like I mentioned, and then some people in the middle. I find it reinvigorates and reaffirms the human value of all those humans. And especially in the age of AI, where some people worry, are we the horses? I think Mob AI highlights how valuable humans are, at least for now. Yes, maybe someday it will be AI and we'll have to figure out what money really is. Do we all get some, or do we move beyond it? Or, I mean, I don't know. It'll be an interesting world, and there's some interesting theories. But I find at least now, Mob AI is incredibly reaffirming about the human value. And it's easy to see how if we didn't have the humans in the loop, how inferior the product would be.
Great. That's a great closing here. Joe, that's been so many new thoughts, so many great ideas. I thank you very much for giving us those insights about Mob AI. Thank you very much, Joe.